Hey, all you math fans, today we are looking at proportions. Are you ready? Here we go. Today, everybody, we are talking about proportions. To be proportional. So that's our topic of today. This is going to build on our idea of ratios and rates. And yeah, they kind of go hand in hand. If you haven't checked out that video yet, you want to go and check that one out. So what is a proportion? It's an equation. So basically it's an equation stating that the two ratios are equivalent. So it's an equation stating that two ratios, hence we need to know what ratios are, stating two ratios are equivalent. The thing that I always talk about when I'm talking about proportions that most students seem to have a good understanding of is equivalent fractions. So I like to think of equivalent fractions when I talk about proportions. And equivalent fractions, if you remember all your fraction stuff, they have the same value. Now, usually teachers will end up talking about pizzas because it's nice and easy. So let's just take pizzas, for example. And let's just do this pizza. Maybe it's a pepperoni pizza. I love like meat lover pizzas. Those are my favorite ones. A lot of Canadians like Hawaiian, which is really weird. It's nothing to do with Hawaii. It's got pineapple and ham. But let's just say we have this pizza here, right? And okay, so this is like obviously a quarter. But then let's just say we had like, your teacher will say like, oh, but you had more friends come over. Okay, so you got more than 4 friends. And let's say you had 8 friends because we have to keep things with nice numbers. So now you have 8 friends. And it's the same amount right here. So if you look at the picture, I've colored in now 2 of the 8 and 1 of the 4 there, right? So they say, are these proportional? Basically is what we're kind of asking. And that's what we're trying to figure out. And if something is proportional, they are equivalent. And how can you tell? So how do you do it? So how do you go and you figure it out? Well, there's a really cool way. Is basically, so how do you figure out if something is proportional if you don't go and draw it? You can just cross multiply basically. So we'll use that the exact same numbers that we just had as an example. So we had a quarter. Are we saying that is equal to 2/8? That's what we're saying. And we already know the answer is yes. We already know that answer, right? But let's just see how we do it. So we're going to cross multiply. Remember, so we're going to cross multiply. So I'm going to go like this. And I'm going to go like this. So we go basically 1 times 8. Is that equal to 2 times 4? And by golly, 8 is equal to 8. So we do call that those are proportional. And that's how we go and basically figure it out. So that's the whole lesson. Pretty easy, right? Well, let's get into some things that, or some examples at least, that will kind of just do this. So basically, so here's your classic. Are these, how do teachers usually word like, are these ratios proportional? Proportional. So are they? So basically you get a bunch of proportions, right? So your teacher's like, let's go and do, I don't know, let's do 4 over 6. Is that proportional to 18 over 24? And sometimes you're going to find in textbooks, they're not going to put down the equal sign. What they're going to do is they're going to put a comma. So they're saying, are these two 4/6 and 18/24, are they? So we can go and cross multiply. But what do you notice when you're going to go and cross multiply right now? Oh my gosh, these are really, really big. So I'm going to go and reduce this. I'm going to reduce this to 2/3. And I'm going to reduce this. What do I divide this by? I divide the top and the bottom by 6. 6, I think. Is that right? I think so, 6. So there we go. These numbers are going to be much, much easier and that sort of thing. So let's just go and cross multiply. So I'm going to cross multiply. So this is kind of how I usually just end up looking at these in my head. And I go, okay, so 3 times 3, 9, Does that equal 8? Nope. Boom. So no, they are not proportional. And let's say you had, oh, I don't know, what's something more tricky? Let's say you had, where's a nice color? Oh, that's a pretty cool color. Let's say you had 25 over 20 and 15 over 12. Again, I'm going to be, I'll say, kind of smart. I'm going to go and reduce this. I'm going to divide the top and the bottom by 5 here. So that would give me 5 over 4. Remember, it's the same equivalency. And here I'm going to divide by 3. So 5 over 4. Oh my gosh, look at that. Does that look, whew, that looks proportional, but I just want to go and prove it to you anyways. So I'm going to cross multiply, and I'm going to get 20 is equal to 20. Look at that. There you go. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. That's my daughter's favorite little saying right now. So that's really all it kind of is, talking about proportionality. And what's the other thing you might want to know? Maybe you want to talk, your teacher might start to talk about proportional relationships. So this is an important thing. So proportions have the same rate of change. Oops. Have the same rate of change. And rate of change is going to be pretty important because we're going to start using a word for rate, and that word is going to be slope. So they have the same. And basically, if you're going to go and graph proportional things, what you end up getting is straight lines. And you start getting nice straight lines, basically. And there's kind of the differences of a couple different straight lines. This is a nice straight line. They have the same kind of rate. But this one right here that I'm drawing, what do you notice about the yellow line? Because this is what we're going to kind of focus on right now, is the yellow one. The yellow one is basically a proportional relationship. And what do you notice the difference between the yellow line and the light blue line? What do you notice? They're both straight, we know that, but there's something really special about the yellow one. And the special thing, maybe you just saw it, is it passes through the origin. So it passes through the origin, which means it is a perfectly proportional relationship. And remember, the origin is 0, 0. So this is going to be something really important to kind of keep in the back of your mind as you're kind of going through things. And I want to give a couple of examples and just kind of show you a little bit. So the big thing is to ask yourself, does a proportional relationship pass through the origin? So here's an example. Let's just say you had, I don't know, you had a little table that said people and how many pizzas they eat. So you have people and pizza, like pieces of pizza. And I want to know if this is a proportional relationship. So here we go. I'm going to fill in some data here. So I have 2 people. They eat 6 pieces of pizza. That's exciting. If there's 4 people, they eat 8. And 6 people, they eat 10. Okay. So that's what we're going to kind of go and look at. And we're going to say, is this a proportional kind of relationship? Is it? So if I was going to go and graph this one, if I was going to go and graph it, I'm going to kind of skip through a couple of little things. But if I did graph it, it would look, these dots look something like this. Remember, if I'm going to graph these, this little point here, this would be 6, 10. This would be 4, 8. And this would be 2, 6. So remember a little bit of graphing stuff. So that's what it would look like. And if I was going to go and draw a line through it, it would look like this. Just like that. So we can tell that the rate is the same. So it's got the same rate, but it does not have a proportionality because it does not go through this thing. So it's not proportional. Okay, so it's not. But let's say I had a different set of data. So we'll go over here. And this time, let's just say my people and pizza. I'm just going to shorten it a little bit. Just put down PP. I said PP. Come on, you're laughing. If you're a kid and you're watching this, you're going to laugh at that. Let's say there's one person and they ate 2 pieces of pizza. There was 2 people and they ate 4 pieces of pizza. And let's say there was 3 people and they ate 6 pieces of pizza. Well, if I was going to go and graph this one now, if I was going to go and graph this, and again, if I was going to graph this, it'd be like 1, 2, 2, 4, and 3, 6. If I was going to graph those, it would be like this. And if I drew a nice straight line, it would actually go right through that origin. So we would say rate, it's got the same rate, and it also is proportional. Yay! And there you go. Okay, so pretty important as we kind of move along a little bit with proportions. Have a great day. Thanks, all you math Jedi out there. Yes, you have learned a little bit about proportions. Go click subscribe. Check out some videos on ratios if you need to, or rates. And until next time, do good things.